know on some level that penile implants are a thing, but have you ever really thought about them? Have you ever really read about what it means to get a penile implant, what it costs, what it does to a man's body, and why men would be willing to do that? Well, whether you have it or not, we're gonna talk about it right now. You can't click away. Your computer's locked. You have to learn about this. ProPublica did this deep dive. You can see a front page of their article here. Inside the secretive world of penile enlargement, it is an exhaustively in-depth analysis of the history and development and experiences of men who have gotten these, and it very much is worth your attention. You should go read that. We're gonna point out a couple of the details though, because we are in a time when men, I believe, really do need help. They are suffering from a number of different issues, economic issues, psychological issues, and unfortunately, their issues have been weaponized by the right. And I believe that this is sort of a symptom of it. They profile men, including Mick, who wanted a bigger penis because he believed it would allow him to look in the mirror and feel satisfied. Interestingly, none of his romantic partners ever commented on his size. They never implied that he had any sort of issue, but his preoccupation had a way of short-circuiting the mood. He tried several kinds of self-acceptance theory without success. Whenever he went to the bathroom, there it was, mocking him. Like an evil root, he says. It gets in there and grows like a tree. But interesting analogies, by the way, considering. But I think everybody has that on some level about something. Maybe we do all have shortcomings. Why these particular shortcomings would be here, considering that even according to him, it's never been brought up as an issue, implies that somebody is making him feel super self-conscious about this. Anyway, it wasn't until the spring of 2019 when he was 36 that he did something to solve this. He got a silicone implant shaped like a hot dog bun that can be inserted just under the skin of the penis to increase its girth and flaccid length. The device is called the Pneuma, invented by James Ellis. It cost $15,000, roughly half of his life savings. He also added for $7,000 testicular implants as well. Now, this is a true medical procedure. And so obviously, like with anything like this, you go through a consultation. His lasted 5 minutes. He signed a stack of consent forms and releases, including one that said his consultation had lasted more than an hour, which obviously was not true. And another promising quote, not to disclose under any circumstance his relationship with Dr. James Ellis, which is just normal stuff. Obviously, every doctor makes you sign effectively an NDA for some reason. Anyway, I'm not gonna walk you through all of the horror story that develops from his implant. I'm just gonna pluck out a few choice phrases. The corners of the implant protruded under the skin like a misplaced bone, he said. He wrote a series of letters to the doctor trying to get help. One of them read, "I am freaking out about the fact I have zero sensitivity in my penis. It's been 70 days since surgery and yet it feels like a shrimp. You should know that some men's implants get infected or detached, some buckle at the corners. Occasionally, protrusions break through the skin, forming holes that would fester. They would stink, they would make noises, and all of this, in many men's cases, is accompanied by a complete lack of sensation whatsoever. But in some cases, it's even worse for the social implications of this. Physical and social. A truck driver whose device dug into his pubic bone told the writer that he felt like a prisoner in his own body. An executive at an adhesive company who hid his newly bulging crotch behind a shopping bag when walking the dog began to have nightmares in which he castrated himself. A health spa vice president says it makes it look like you're always semi-erect. I couldn't let my kids sit on my lap. I couldn't jump on the trampoline with them. I even felt like a pervert hugging my friends. The experiences of men like this are available in videos, on forums, and yet lots of men still get this sort of procedure every single day in America for thousands and thousands of dollars, implying that there is a strong demand despite all of the warning signs. Yaz, what do you make of all this?
Like this whole time, I was just trying to kind of gather my thoughts and have something interesting to say about this, but I don't know, man. Like It is sad that he feels the need to do this. I'm glad that he didn't get any kind of external reason for doing so. Maybe that's a good thing, maybe it's not. But for whatever reason, he felt like he had to, pay upwards of $15,000 for these implants that are unproven, unsafe, and like the weird consultation that only lasted 5 minutes. The fact that the doctor didn't even want to be associated with the procedure, all of that is all very, very sketchy. And I know for women, we've been dealing with with similar things with our own bodies, right? We have a lot of body dysmorphia, and a lot of that comes from external sources, the media telling us we have to be this way or that way, whatever. And it's weird because body parts will become trendy. And people will kind of take these really, really drastic steps, like the BBLs, whenever, big butts were in fashion, people were getting butt implants. And it's like, that doesn't go away whenever big butts somehow are no longer in fashion, which was always weird to me. But people take very, very drastic steps to just feel like they belong somewhere, or to feel like they're happy with themselves. And I think it is sad. I think it speaks to a much larger societal problem about why we feel so badly about just being ourselves. But that is another conversation for another day.
Yeah. By the way, so are big butts out of fashion now? I feel like so disconnected from the culture.
It's hard to keep track of, but yeah, I think like the very skinny look is starting to come back because of some supermodels. I don't know, and the Kardashians are, I think, getting less popular than they once were. The big lips thing, I think people just took that one way too far, and now they're starting to pull back a little bit. Bushy eyebrows were big for a while. I don't know if they still are, but like that worked out well for me because these are not, So I just happen to be on trend, luckily, with that one. So
yeah, sometimes it lines up for us. Thankfully, I've stayed in that sweet spot for like at least 2 decades, and I'm hoping to ride out the rest of my life. Anyway, look, I feel bad for the guys. I mean, look, obviously they've got some money. There are people who have much harder lives, but I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's all of the grifters, the male influencers desperately trying to keep guys broken so that they can steal all their money from them. I don't know. I don't know if it's pornography. Do people not get that men in porn are not representative? Do they not get that? Do they not get that the guys not only take pills, but literally inject things into their penis?
Do they not get that? Yeah, I don't think they get that.
But anyway, it is leading some men to go to great lengths, harming themselves, and you hate to see it. We desperately need to help men because those who are trying to do it right now are not succeeding, if they even intend to.
Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.